Today we are doing lesson 12.1, Parallel Lines and Transversals. This is an 8th grade lesson, which is why our standard today has 8 in it, 8.G.5. Our I can statements for today: I can identify the angles formed when parallel lines are cut by a transversal, and I can find the measures of angles formed when parallel lines are cut by a transversal. So the first thing we need to do is define what parallel lines and transversal, what all of that means. So parallel lines are two lines that never intersect. That is a term that you have heard in the past in math. However, the rest of these are all new terms for you. So here, when we have our figure with a transversal, that transversal is a line that intersects two or more lines at different points. So here's our parallel lines. And then the transversal is the one that goes through and touches both of them. So the line that intersects or goes over those two parallel lines, that is called a transversal. And then different points on a parallel line, set of parallel lines and a transversal, have different names based on their relationships with each other. So corresponding angles are two angles that lie on the same side of the transversal in corresponding positions. So it's same side of the transversal here, it's on the right side of the line. And in each little intersection of 4 angles, it is the top right corner. Those are corresponding angles. Alternate interior are on opposite sides of the transversal. Here's my transversal. One point is on the left, one point is on the right. They're called alternate because they're on different sides. And they're called interior because they're inside these parallel lines. Here are our parallel lines. I'm just going to outline them. They're in between. So that's why they're interior. They're in between the parallel lines, and they're alternate interior because they are on different sides of that transversal. Alternate exterior, still alternate because they're on different sides of the transversal. One's on the right, one's on the left. But this time it's exterior because they're on the outside of where the parallel lines are. Interior angles are inside the two parallel lines. Exterior angles are on the outside of the two lines. Supplementary angles we've talked about in chapter 7. Supplementary angles are two angles whose sum is 180 degrees. So these two are supplementary. On a parallel line cut by a transversal, any obtuse and any acute are going to be supplementary. That's because the angle measures, when I went through these ones, for corresponding angles, they're going to have the same amount of degrees. Alternate interior are going to have the same amount of degrees. And alternate exterior are going to have the same amount of degrees. Any obtuse angle is going to have the same amount of degrees as any other obtuse angle in that particular situation with the two parallel lines in a transversal. Vertical angles are angles that are diagonal from each other. We talked about this word in chapter 7 as well. Vertical angles are equal. So if they're across from each other, they're made with the same two straight lines, and across from each other, they're vertical. Vertical angles are also equal. And then our last one here, consecutive interior. So consecutive means they're on the same side. Sometimes you hear it called same side interior, but consecutive interior is the most common way to say it. They're in between. Remember, interior means in between the two parallel lines, but on the same side. Alternate interior, in between the two lines, but on different sides of the transversal. Consecutive interior, inside the parallel lines on the same side. These two, one will be obtuse and one will be acute, and they're supplementary to each other. When they're on opposite sides, they'll either both be obtuse or they'll both be acute, and they are going to be congruent. In this sort of situation, all of the obtuse angles will be congruent to each other. All of the acute angles will be congruent to each other. And then the one obtuse and one acute will be supplementary. They'll equal 180 degrees. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at our picture here and fill in the different relationships. Okay, blank and blank are alternate interior angles. So I'm just going to go back here. Alternate interior, opposite sides of the transversal, inside in between those two parallel lines. Okay, so let's see. 5 and 4, those are alternate interior. 5 and 4. And 6 and 3 are alternate interior. All right, let's see. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 7. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 8. These all equal with a squiggle mean congruent, same amount. 2 and 7. 1 and 8. Those are alternate exterior. All right, corresponding angles. We've got lots of different options here. Top left corner of each set. So here I'm looking at this set of 4 and this set of 4. Top left corner in each one, 1 and 5. Those are corresponding. Angle 1 and angle 5. I forgot my angle signs here. Go stick them back in. Okay. All right, so angle 1 and 5, top left corner. Angle 2 and angle 6, top right corner. Those are corresponding. Angle 3 and 7, bottom left corner. Those are corresponding. And angle 4 and 8. Those are corresponding. Okay, get rid of those lines. Okay, continuing on, angles 3 and 5. So here's 3, here's 5. Those are going to be supplementary. They both equal 180. One is obtuse and one is acute. They're supplementary because they're the same side interior. Remember how I said sometimes instead of they say consecutive, where is it? Oh, it's down here. No wonder I can't say it. Consecutive interior angles, and I said sometimes that's same side interior. That's what they say here, same side interior. So these two are consecutive interior. 4 and 6 also have that same relationship. This one and this one. Same side interior angles. They are supplementary to each other. Angle 4 and 6. Actually, I don't even need that little angle sign there because of the word angle. So I'm going to erase it so it's not quite so sloppy looking. All right. All right, angles 1 and 7. 1 and 7. One is acute, one is obtuse. They are also supplementary. So are angles 2 and 8. These are going to be same side exterior, which actually was not on that last sheet. I'm going to put EXT for exterior just because I don't have a lot of space to write there. Because of linear pairs and vertical angles, all obtuse angles in the diagram are congruent. Remember, congruent means equal. And all acute angles are congruent. The converse, the opposite, is also true. If each bulleted statement is true, then you know for sure that the lines are parallel. All right, so let's go ahead and try some of these problems. We're going to start by naming the relationship for each pair. All right, so number 1 and number 8. Here are two parallel lines, although in this picture they don't really look parallel. That's okay. We've got two pairs of lines and a transversal. 1 and 8, alternate, different sides, exterior. Alternate, exterior. Exterior because they are on the outside of our parallel lines. And alternate because they're on the different sides of transversal. 3 and 7, here and here. They are both the top angle of the set of 4, so those are going to be corresponding. They are in the same place on each set of 4 angles. Angles 5 and 8, here they are, 5 and 8. They are going to be vertical. They are across from each other. All right, fill in all missing angle measures. So we said earlier that all of the acute angles are going to be congruent. So this one is 75. This one's 75. They are vertical to each other. That's why they're congruent. This one's 75. That's because it's corresponding to this one. Corresponding angles are equal. And this one is 75 because this one's 75. Vertical angles are equal. Then we have to subtract from 180 to find the value of all of our obtuse angles. So when I subtract 180 minus 75, I get 105 degrees. That's going to be all of our obtuse ones. 105, this one's 105 because these two are supplementary. This one's also going to be 105. It's also supplementary to hit this. It's on a straight line, and it's vertical to this one. This will be 105. Corresponding angles are equal. This one will also be 105. Vertical angles are equal. All the obtuse have the same measure. All the acute have the same measure. All right, and then here we're going to finish the same thing. Fill in all missing angle measures. All right, go ahead and pause and try this one. All right, let's try it. So we should have 36 degrees in each of these angles that look acute. Then we have to do 180, subtract 36. 10 minus 6 is 4, 7 minus 3 is 4, 1, bring it down, 144. So that means all of our obtuse angles are going to be 144. All right, let's take a look at our next one. A store owner uses pieces of tape to paste a window advertisement. The letters are slanted at an 80-degree angle. What is the measure of angle 1? So here's angle 1. Here's this one that's measured 80 degrees. We can look at this as being our transversal. And these two, so I'm just going to outline it here. These two are alternate interior or same side interior angles. Go ahead and pause the video and try this one. All right, because these are alternate interior, they're going to be supplementary. So we subtract the 80 degrees that we know to see what we have left over. 100. So 100 degrees, that is going to be our answer for number 1. Always a good idea to look at it and see if it seems reasonable based on the picture. Yes, that does seem reasonable for this one, angle 1, because it is an obtuse angle that looks like a little bit more than 90 degrees. All right, and then let's try these last ones as well. Photo shows a portion of an airport. Describe the relationship between each pair of angles. Go ahead and pause the video and try these two on your own. All right, let's try it number 3, which is here, number 6, which is here. They are on different sides of the transversal. This is our transversal. One's above it, one's below. So alternate. And then they are both on the outside of the parallel line. So these are going to be alternate exterior. And then 2 and 7. Here's 2. Here's 7. They are also on opposite sides, so still alternate. But this time they're on the inside. So they're interior. They're in between our 2 parallel lines.